Hey guys, once again I am Madison Klein and I am a freshman here at KU. This week we are supposed to just talk about geology. So, what geology is, how it impacts society, and how its insights and the insights of geologists have helped to shape humanity. So, I just starting off would describe geology just basically as the study of the earth, which is a very vague definition and encompasses a whole lot. Geology is like a very broad topic that covers a lot of stuff about the Earth. So there are like physical aspects to geology and historical as well. So some examples of physical aspects would be like earthquakes and volcanoes, as well as oils, metals, and rocks. Also minerals as well. And then the historical aspects of geology would be the history of Earth, how the Earth came to be, um, how it was formed, how life came on Earth, and then the history of like the life that was also on Earth. Geology helps us to trace back to the very origin of the Earth and where all life began. So, using geology, we are able to relate species together and decipher where and how they lived using fossils. So, with geology, it helps us to better understand where our ancestors came from and also how we are all related. I think geology also gives us the basis of evolution. So by seeing fossils of other animals or plants, scientists are able to see what their lineage is and how they are related to certain species and how they adapt and change as well. So they can also see what adaptations cause good and then what caused harm, and ultimately what adaptations or lack of there caused species to die out. So this way they can see um, by looking at a certain environment what helps something survive and what doesn't. Geology also has a lot to do with the study of minerals and rocks. I think that is pretty much what most people think of when they think of geology. So they're just like, oh, that's just rocks, which it's not. But that's kind of like the general consensus. I feel like this helps, like the studying minerals and rocks helps us to find things like coal and oil, which are then used for fuel, which is extremely important in today's society. Uh, Geology, also with the study of rocks and dirt, helps us greatly with agriculture. So geologists can find great places to plant crops and have the best outcomes. And since like certain crops need different areas to grow, geologists can like study the landscape and what has previously been there and the dirt and see where a certain thing will flourish and be the best. And this is like really important because as population increases, then there is a bigger need for food and more places to plant crops. And geology can help us to find us places to go for that. Geology also helps us to show the landscape of the earth, so things like volcanoes, mountains, and canyons. And by studying these things and their history, geologists are able to better understand and predict things like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, flooding, and landslides. And by being able to predict these events, it gives people time to evacuate, and that could ultimately save their lives so that they're not around when this catastrophe strikes. Yeah. Okay, so with geology, we also wouldn't really know anything about global warming or climate change. And that is a huge issue in today's society that we are facing. And we wouldn't really know anything about it at all without geologists. So these geologists can help us to see what needs to be changed in the earth and how we can change it in order to help it survive and keep going. So by using like extinction events that occurred in the past and other historical events, geologists are able to make it so we hopefully don't make the same mistakes as has previously happened. So they can tell like what the climate and the atmosphere used to be like when life flourished and it was good conditions. And then so that way we can try and make it like that, or like limit our CO2 emissions or whatever to make like the atmosphere and the ozone layer better. They can also tell us about like conditions that led to things such as the Ice Age, and so we don't have that occur again. Alright, well that's all for today. Thanks guys for listening.